Today, we dedicated the majority of our time to work. Cities and landscapes are structured to make work more efficient. What would happen if we dedicate more time to leisure or care activities instead of work? 4 days work week is a policy proposal that can help us to imagine different ways to structure our city and landscapes. The working system is not set in stone. Ever since the late 19th century, the number of working hours gradually reduced within a typical work week. Technology and human well-being can be the drivers behind the reduction of working hours to achieve a 4 days work week. The current working model has many disadvantages. High-intensity work brings people physical and mental problems. Today, there are many studies and models that have demonstrated how feasible is the implementation of a 4-day workweek, including those produced by think tank Autonomy. These strategies can also be put into global south. Companies such as Microsoft Japan and Valencia in Spain have implemented successfully a 4-day workweek scheme, bringing many benefits to workers and citizens. The news about Iceland shows us what life would be like after the 4-day workweek system. People in Iceland have more time to stay with their family, they can participate more in family duties, and also have more time to do exercises. The 4-day workweek is actually becoming a trend all over the world. According to Autonomous research, we can define the 4-day workweek as the free choice of working days, original wages would not be reduced, upgrading weekends to 3 days, and reducing every day's working time. In today's capital globalization, most people in the world work about 8 hours per day and spend most of their time on working and commuting rather than relaxing. So when zooming into the UK, the work-related data is not optimistic as well. Many people are suffering the high employment rate and the mental illness caused by overworking. These two maps shows the average salary and the commuting time in different regions in England. The northwest part has a relatively low salary with more commuting time than other regions. According to these analyses, we can tell the state of working situation in the UK is very negative, and the 4-day workweek is necessary. However, the introduction of the 4-day workweek cannot be done overnight. A department-by-department strategy might work. As the public sector is by far the most unionized sector of the British economy, we would therefore expect the 4-day workweek to be introduced in the public sector before the private sector. At the same time, the healthcare sector is the biggest public sector in the UK. Therefore, the healthcare sector can be a start point of the 4-day workweek. The analysis on the human health sector throughout the UK shows that the health problems of employees in the sector are affected to varying degrees by the existing working model. This not only affects the working efficiency, but also increases the government's financial expenditure. We mainly focus on the care work for elderly children and the unpaid care work as well, which cover the most vulnerable people. These three kinds are also highly related to Commonwealth because they are all based on community and family life. The goals of Green New Deal and Commonwealth can also support us in choosing the healthcare sector as the research object. The analysis of claimant rate and employment rate in the public sector in various regions of the UK shows that the two data of Blackpool is the highest in the UK. The working-related diseases also confuse the employees in the public sector in Blackpool. In order to learn more about Blackpool, we compared it with the population basic data of some other cities to understand their differences. According to the population structure, we find that Blackpool is aging seriously, and 4-day workweek could help to alleviate these problems. So we have chosen Blackpool as our first site to implement it. At the same time, we found that the development of Blackpool is closely related to the improvement of the working system. Early in the 17th century, it was just a small fishing village. With the introduction of the paid leave system and the annual holiday, more and more people came to Blackpool and modified it into a tourism city. The new working system would bring huge changes to cities, as people shift their focus of activities from work to leisure. We believe that after the 4 days workweek is implemented in Blackpool, people would have more time to enjoy life and use leisure infrastructures. Therefore, we analyzed the service radius of the leisure infrastructures, and the results show that the service radius of existing leisure infrastructures only covers part of the city, and it is difficult for residents in many areas to enjoy them. This problem is particularly obvious in the southern region, where the ratio of open spaces and green spaces is the lowest in the city. Therefore, we would like to choose the south area as our site to develop specific design proposal. A complete set of urban public infrastructure is very necessary for the implementation of 4 days workweek, and most layer infrastructures are located alongside the coast. There are less layer infrastructures in the inner area of Blackpool. The master plan of Blackpool and follow-up analysis can also be support of our design proposal. According to this care worker's daily routine, we can divide the week into 3 periods, which is on-duty time, off-duty time, and weekends. A care worker's shift starts at 7 a.m. and and at 6 p.m. Our idea is to add more public spaces inside and around the care center. These spaces can be used by both care workers and people who are taking care in these centers. If people have one more day in weekends, we can also add more layered spaces for people based on their community. A network to connect the community and the scenic spot can also be established. We can summarize our design proposal as this diagram. Initially, we focus on improving the inside spaces and the spaces around the care centers to offer hybrid leisure and care spaces for both care workers and vulnerable people during the on-duty time. When the off-duty time comes, these spaces can also serve their family members. A network connects the community. Existing layer infrastructures and care centers can serve the local people during the off-duty time. This network can also link the inner area of Blackpool to the coast area, which allow tourists and local residents to travel between these two areas more conveniently. In the first part, we would like to focus on retrofitting the care center. This panorama shows the healthcare infrastructures in the south area of Blackpool. We choose St. Croft Nursing Home, St. Cuthbert's and Palentine's Children's Center, Aberdeen Medical Center, and the blocks near them to be the three clusters to study. An engagement tool can help us to understand what people need after a 40 work week schedule. It will contribute to further define the layer and care activities and let people participate in the decision making. So according to the people's quotations from the previous case study and the engagement tool, we did the catalog to show how different people's activities looks like in the elderly care home after 4 days work week is implemented. This is a catalog showing an office room in elderly care home can be transformed into a function room after 4 days work week, which can provide layered spaces for both elderly people and the care workers to dance and sing. These three diagrams show the certain spaces interacted by different people, including elderly, care workers, and their family members and friends in the week's different time. Each color represents one certain type of person. The corresponding color line shows what time people can interact with specific items. This drawing shows the people being cared in the elderly care home and how they interact with the new items in the building at different times in the week. The three dial-shaped circles radiating from the inside and to the outside show the three time periods of the week: working hours, off hours, and weekends. According to the previous research on 4 days work week, we knew that when people have more time off duty, they would like to spend more quality time with their family members. This drawing shows the family members of both the elderly and care workers in the elderly. After that, we have a section showing the current situation of St. Croft Nursing Home and its surrounding environment. The staff come to parking lot in front of the elderly care home by car in the morning, but they often spend a lot of time on commuting and cause environmental pollution. After that, they enter the first office building and begin their 1 day's work. Unfortunately, there is no elevator for the elders, because it is all office spaces and the elderly usually stay in the second building. The staff usually talk to the family members of the elderly in the conference room. Due to the long working hours, people have little time to accompany their parents and the elders. This is why staff needs to go to the second building to take care of the elderly after they finish their office job in the afternoon. But still, there are some problems because there is a lack of the outdoor spaces, and the staff and elders spend most of their time indoors, with nowhere to socialize. Scenic views are also hindered. There is too little spaces for the staff and elders to do exercises. The care home need more spaces and layer infrastructure. The 4-day work week will reshape our cities and towns, changing the way we live, work, and play. This leads to stronger communities and a more pleasant environment. Now people don't have to endure the traffic jam in the morning. They can ride bikes or walk to work freely. Due to the reduced vehicle use, according to the catalog, the former parking lot was transformed into an open spaces for people to socialize. The staff's day is no longer all about work, and the elders can interact with the staff in the activity room. Now the elders' family have enough time to visit them. They can even play chess and cards together here. More green spaces makes the environment better. Elder people and their family can have lunch together here. And transform the hard pavement into soft pavement can provide a better walking path around the nursing home. The space on the ground floor is transformed into an outdoor space where staff and the elderly can do gardening, sunbath, and have tea together here. The outdoor spaces is enriched. The backyard clutter was cleared and newly installed exercises equipment provided an opportunity for the elders and the staff to exercise. They can even cross the tracks to sing and dance in the converted park opposite. Similarly, some improvements based on the catalog are implemented in nursing home and the children's center. More green spaces and facilities make workers' lives better. In the second part, we will focus on the medium-scale design. This part is mainly for the off-duty time. The changes brought by the 4-day workweek will not only change the care building itself, but also the surrounding facilities. So we try to find out the layer infrastructures needed by different people in different care facilities. In order to form a network of care facilities and layer infrastructures in the whole city, we try to make a catalog of the missing layer infrastructures near each care facility. To further study the change of block scale in the future, we analyze the blocks around care facility. For example, the proportion of the elderly and children in each block. Then we did a weighted analysis of these 6 data to find out the most problematic neighborhoods and give them priority. With this information, we can try to imagine the changes that the new working system would bring. This photo shows the cluster centered around the medical center. The change will spread out to the periphery. Some possible development strategies include increasing layer infrastructures and creating greener roads. Transport and networks will be affected. At the same time, some neighborhoods will have more green spaces, and driveways will be converted into trails and bike paths, just like what we showed in the circle. The same development strategy is also used for the remaining 2 clusters. At the same time, the shortest path from each care facility to the nearby layer infrastructure is also calculated. We want to offer a better service radius to the residents by strengthening the connection between care facilities. Through this method, after these 3 clusters change, a preliminary network will be formed between them. So after 4 days workweek implementation, the first part that would be changed is the 3 clusters we have chosen. These 3 healthcare centers and the streets around them would be improved first. In the year 2033, taking all healthcare centers as the center and radiating outwards, our design methods can be implemented in more blocks and affect more communities. In 2038, the whole south area can be transformed into a layer-oriented city. There would be more layer infrastructures and the local environment can be improved. This will not only serve the local people but also the tourists from other cities.